It's time to wrap up the Sweet 16. Hey guys, Tom here. Welcome back to the Underground. And an exciting day, well, exciting for me. It's the last matchup in our Sweet 16 round in the Clash. This has been really fun for me, this Clash. But this last matchup is in the Boozy Bracket. But before we get to that, we got some results. And this is results from Clash 21 from a couple of weeks ago in the Citrus Bracket, where we matched up the Gimlet versus the Paloma, and then the Dark and Stormy versus the Moscow Mule. We played around with them a little bit, especially the Mule. We made a Kentucky Mule, but Moscow Mule is the drink we're going with. And for the first matchup, a Gimlet versus a Paloma. We made a vodka Gimlet, and that went up against the good old Paloma, which has become a really fun drink for me. The winner in that matchup was the Paloma. I don't know what it is. I guess it's just because it's such a nice, refreshing drink. That's the only thing I can think of. I guess maybe people just don't like to drink big drinks of alcohol. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, the Gimlet does give us a little more varieties, but the Paloma was the winner, and that actually would have been my choice as well. And then we had the other half of the bracket, the Dark and Stormy, which, as we know, is got to be Gosling rum, Gosling ginger beer, versus a Moscow Mule, which is vodka and ginger beer. It's basically the same drink, except one is rum and one is vodka. But this was close. We made in the round, we made a Kentucky Mule with bourbon instead. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. But in the matchup versus the Dark and Stormy versus the matchup of the Dark and Stormy versus the Moscow Mule, or any mule in that case, the winner was Dark and Stormy. I mean, I kind of knew it. It's just an all-time classic. But so they'll go together in the final round of 8, the Paloma versus the Dark and Stormy, to see who advances out of the Citrus Bracket. Now, our last bracket in the Sweet 16 is the Boozy Bracket, and we're gonna have some fun with it today. We got 4 drinks, and we're gonna play around with 3 of them. The first half of the bracket is gonna be the Long Island Iced Tea versus the classic New Orleans Sazerac. If you remember, Sazerac was just a little bit of absinthe or some kind of licorice-based drink, rinse out the glass. I'm not going to make that one because you just can't redo a classic. A little bit of bitters, some sugar or syrup, some rye whiskey, a classic. And that's going to go up against a Long Island Iced Tea. We're going to vote Long Island Iced Tea, but just for some fun, we're going to play around with it a little bit. And then on the other half of the bracket, the Old Fashioned versus the Mint Julep, and we're gonna play with both of those. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I can't wait. So let's dive right in with the Old Fashioned and Mint Julep half of the bracket. And this is, there's really not much to this. We are actually going to make oh, I forgot to get my ice. We are actually going to make a maple Old Fashioned, just to switch it up. Old Fashioned, like I've told you many, many times, I think is the quintessential cocktail. Some fruit, some sugar, some bitters, a little bit of fruit at the end, and some good bourbon, and you have a classic drink. And for this one, it's not much difference. We're going to start with a few drops of bitters. I'm going to use some Angostura, a couple drops of that. And then instead of the sugar, being that it's a maple Old Fashioned, I'm going to use a little bit of maple syrup. Maple syrup, not Mrs. Butterworth's or Log Cabin or whatever, Caro syrup, maple syrup. See, pure maple syrup. This is a Pennsylvania product, but you can get Vermont, Canada. And then we just need about 1/4 ounce of that. This is, I don't know how big this glass is. It's not that big, but, and I'm actually gonna scrape that out because I don't wanna waste any of it. And then some good bourbon. And you can use any kind of bourbon you want. I am going to use, since this is a good drink, I'm actually going to use, I'm going to break out the good stuff. And about 2 ounces of that. I forget what this is. This is 3/4. Okay. So there's 3/4. There's 1.5 ounces. And then 2. I'm gonna, do I have a big, any kind of ice? I'm just gonna use this ice because I can. Give it a little stir. That glass is a little bit much for this small drink, so I'm going to put it in a smaller glass. There, that's a little better. And then just for garnish, we have a little bit of orange rind. You can run that around. You could put some cinnamon in here if you want a cinnamon stick. I don't know that I would put nutmeg or anything like that. And then we're going to break out one of our fancy cherries, a Luxardo cherry. And as simple as that, we take the classic north of the border to Canada with a maple old-fashioned. Okay, next is spritzer, or not, or mint julep. Well, I kind of let the cat out of the bag. And we are going to make it a little different with, we're going to make a mint julep spritzer. It's going to be fun. So I just went out to my garden because it's that time of the year. This is all wet because I just washed it. Some lovely mint, and we need about, I don't know, 7 or 8 or 10 mint leaves. 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't like that one. I don't like that one. 7, 8, and then I'll cut that off. We'll use that for garnish. Put this back in our water for later. And a little bit of syrup. About 1/2 ounce. You can eyeball it. I'm going to say that's about half. You know, more or less, depending on how sweet you like it. I would actually lean towards a little more for this one, for reasons I will get into momentarily. And then just give it a slight little muddle. You don't got to go crazy. Just want to break up that mint a little bit. And then excuse me. And then some bourbon. I'm just going to use our regular bourbon this time. 2 ounces of that. Yeah, 2 ounces of that. Now you could stir this with some ice, but only because I want to incorporate this mint a little bit more. I'm just going to give it the slightest little shake. Ready? Shake it up, shake it up. 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 Always making a mess, Thomas. And then why not put it in some kind of... See, that's why I wanted to shake it, but... And then I'll just add some more ice. And then you can... Let's try to move that meat around a little bit. You can top this one of two ways to make it a spritzer. For something a little lighter, you could go club soda, or if you want to be fancy, you could put a little Prosecco. And that's why I said, oh wow, that was perfect amount. And that's why I said maybe a little more sugar, because Prosecco can be dry. I mean, if you like dry, fine. If not, put a little more sugar, like I did. A straw naturally, and then a nice sprig of mint for number 2 today in the Sweet 16 Clash, the mint julep made as a spritzer. So next up is a classic, and I actually pre-made this because I just thought I didn't want to waste a bunch of time remaking a drink that we've made before. So that's our absinthe rinsed. That's our absinthe rinsed glass, as you remember, a Sazerac rinsed with absinthe. And then we mixed together a little sugar, some Patio bitters this time, and some rye whiskey. Mixed them together. And then for this one, a simple garnish of a twist of lime. Or, that's not lime. Lime's the green one. This is lemon. I don't know what I'm doing today. But I do know we're having a good time making some drinks. So let me show this one to you. The classic New Orleans Sazerac. And then finally, this is going to be the fun one, because we are going to make, or I'm going to make, you're going to watch, and then you're going to make and drink later, a Long Island iced tea. But we made Long Island iced tea a couple times already during the Clash. So I thought I would change it up just a very little bit with the perfect amount of ice. Actually, I need a little more ice. I'm going to make what's called a blue motorcycle. Now, it has all the usual suspects. It has vodka, half ounce each of all these, half a vodka, half a gin. I mean, I have probably a little bit less expensive gin that I could use, but it's way underneath and I don't feel like climbing anymore. But whatever you have is fine. Half a rum. Half of tequila. And half of triple sec. But today we're not using triple sec because it's a blue motorcycle. So, an homage to my brother Tim, some blue curacao. Half of that. And then we're going to use the same lemon that we would use in a regular iced tea. About 2 ounces of that. I mean, this is real. I mean, I don't really. The only reason I measured that is because I want to clean out the glass. And then instead of Coke, we're going to use lemon lime soda. Give that a little bit of a stir. It is iced tea based at all, naturally, so a little piece of lemon seems in order. Apropos, as they say. And there you have it, friends. A riff on the Long Island iced tea, the blue motorcycle. Okay, gang, there you have it. Our 4 boozy drinks for this final Sweet 16 matchup. I'm really excited to try these. So without further ado, it's time for ready, drink. I'm going to try this one first. I'm just going to go right in order. Maple old fashioned. I like bourbon, I like maple syrup, and I like old fashions. I did it again. Cheers. Boy. I just don't know what it is about old fashioned. It's just the classic drink in my opinion. The maple gives it richness and depth of flavor. It's just really good. I'm sorry, it's just really good. All right, let's try this one. A mint julep spritzer. That's good too. I put a little extra syrup in there so the dry Prosecco doesn't really, excuse me, doesn't really bite you too much. I don't like real dry wine, so that's really tasty. Wow, this is gonna be tough. Sazerac Classic New Orleans. I'm sure there's ways to doctor up a Sazerac. I didn't really look that much because to me, I thought it was just pretty classic. I didn't want to mess around with it too much, but that's good. It's got a little bit of burn from the rye. So if you didn't want rye, I guess you could use bourbon if you wanted something maybe a little smoother, but that's really tasty. And then finally, I've been interested to try this one, the blue motorcycle, our riff on the Long Island iced tea. It's strong, it's sweet, it's a little citrusy, but it's good. I don't know how we're gonna narrow, I don't know how 2 of these are going home after today, after this vote. But when you vote, I want you to vote, like I said, we made them different. But vote for the basic drink. They say, oh, this is going to be good because it's blue. But I want you to vote for the classic. I just changed it up to have some fun, but I want you to vote for the classic iced tea. I want you to vote for the classic mint julep. I want you to vote for the classic old fashioned, not the specific riff we made on it. Now, if you want to take into account the fact that we can riff the drink into something else, by all means. But that being said, vote for it as a classic, please. And please do vote. Vote in the comments, vote on Instagram. I've been lax on Instagram, I say this every time, but this will definitely have a poll on Instagram for this round. And we'll see what happens. See who moves on to the final 4. No, final 8. But it's gonna be fun. So guys, thank you for spending some time here at the Grantham Pub Underground. If it's your first time here, welcome. You've come at a good time. There's always plenty of room for everybody here at the Underground. So why not think about subscribing? And when you do, hit the bell. That way, they'll tell you when the bar is open and you can come visit us and spend some time with us and have a good time too. And if you're interested, you can buy some merchandise. We got hats, shirts, all kind of different things. I'll leave you a link for that. There's links you can leave us a tip, it would help us out. And also, don't remember. Actually, I want you to remember. Like the video, share the video. If you know people that like these kind of drinks, share them. Say, hey, there's this cool spot I can go. It's like a online happy hour bar, Grantham Pub Underground. Check it out. It's a good time. They make good drinks and gives us some ideas for what we can do when we get together Friday night, Saturday night, whatever. So, I'll see you next time. And remember, if you're going to drink like a pirate, but drink responsibly. And until we meet together again right here at the bar at the Underground, I'll save a seat at the bar for you. Cheers.